Hey there, welcome to Paint the Kitchen Red. I'm Nina and I share Instant Pot tips and recipes. Today I'm going to be telling you how to make jasmine rice. Jasmine rice is my favorite rice. I make it all the time, at least once or twice a week. And there are two different ways that I make jasmine rice. Directly in the inner pot with the rice and the water in the inner pot. And that method I usually use when I have everyone in the family at home and I need a larger quantity of rice. The other method, which is the one I use more often, is the pot in pot method. This is where you cook the rice in a container and you put that container into the inner pot. And so it's called pot in pot. If you've never used that method of cooking, then I'm going to show you how to do it today. The nice thing about using pot in pot is you can cook smaller quantities of rice and you can store the leftovers in the same container that you cooked the rice in. And so that just becomes really convenient and there's no mess really because the inner pot when you're cooking the rice doesn't get dirty, and so it's just an easy, simple way to cook rice, and that's why I tend to use it more often. So now let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is measure out the jasmine rice. I'm going to be cooking 2 cups of rice. And I'm going to measure out 2 cups and flatten it out so that you have an exact measure of 2 cups. You can choose to rinse the rice whichever way you choose. I like to put it in a sieve and run the rice under running water until the water runs clear. You could choose to put the rice in a bowl of water and rinse it out that way, and that works perfectly fine too. I like to spray some vegetable oil in the inner pot before I put the rice in. You don't have to do that. You can just put the rice in directly. Now we're going to add water. I use a ratio of 1 is to 1 1/4 for every cup of rice, 1 1/4 cups of water, using the same measuring cup that I used for the rice. Now I stir everything together and close the lid. And we're going to pressure cook for 4 minutes. I use 4 minutes for jasmine rice. Once the pressure cooking is complete, we do a 10-minute natural pressure release, which means you wait for 10 minutes after pressure cooking is complete and then release any remaining pressure. Sometimes there is no pressure left to be released, so then you can just open the lid right away. You can stir up the rice with a fork or you can use the paddle that comes with the Instant Pot. Now I have to admit that I had a bunch of these paddles sitting in a drawer somewhere because I have a lot of Instant Pots and each one came with a paddle and I thought it was a completely useless thing. But recently I discovered that these paddles are great for stirring up rice. So if you're like me and you have one of these paddles and you haven't tried it, give it a try with rice and you might be surprised. The rice is cooked perfectly, as you can see. Now I'm going to tell you how to make jasmine rice using the pot in pot method. Add 2 cups of water to the inner pot and put the trivet in the inner pot. The level of the water should be below the trivet. You can use different kinds of bowls. One of the bowls that I prefer to use is the Pyrex 7-cup glass bowl. You can also use a stainless steel bowl. In my case, my stainless steel bowl doesn't fit in the inner pot when I have the trivet handles up, so I put the handles down and I put the bowl on the trivet. To use the pot in pot or PIP method, we're going to add the rinsed rice to the bowl and we'll add water in the same ratio as we did earlier, which is 1 cup rice to 1 1/4 cups water. And so in my case, I have 2 cups of rice, so I'll have 2 1/2 cups of water. But you can decrease the quantity if you want to. You can even cook just 1 cup of rice. Place the bowl on the trivet, close the lid, and pressure cook for the same amount of time as we did earlier, which is 4 minutes. Once the pressure cooking is complete, we'll release the pressure using the 10-minute natural pressure release method, which is where you wait for 10 minutes after pressure cooking is done and then you release any remaining pressure. Sometimes there is no pressure in the Instant Pot because it's all been released, in which case you can just open the lid right away. Now be careful of the steam. In my case, I waited for a little longer, so my trivet handles are not too hot to handle. I take the bowl out of the inner pot, and using the same paddle that I mentioned earlier, we can stir up the rice. And it's important to do this so that rice gets fluffed up. Otherwise, if it cools without being fluffed up, it just becomes one big glob. You can also use a fork if you want to. As you can see, the rice is perfectly cooked. I can't tell you how much I love making rice in the Instant Pot. It's just so much easier than any other method. The other advantage is that you can cover the glass bowl with a lid and put it in the fridge to store it. And to reheat the rice, just do it using the pot and pot method for 1 minute and do a quick release. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you get a chance to make jasmine rice, whether it's directly in the inner pot or using the pot and pot method. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.